Hey everybody, it's Rob from Carnival of Randomness, and we're back from our COVID-enforced exile after we did we'll have an intro show later probably in the weeks to come because we do stuff this way. And what do you want to call yourself? Second banana drummer in residence, Greg?
Second banana. Yeah, well, you know.
Well, it's Greg. Now, rarely do I have guests who I've judged horror costume contests with, but this time I do. And he's a man who has many things to talk about. It'll be very interesting. And it's Billy McKee.
Well, hello, everybody.
And tell us a little about yourself to the fans out in podcast land.
Well, I've been a musician my entire life. I'm a singer, I'm a songwriter, and a guitar player, and a weekend gigolo. No, I'm kidding.
Only on weekends?
On the weekend. No, weekend gynecologist.
Importantly, you know how to pronounce Celtic. That's the big thing. You know how to pronounce Celtic right.
I know how to pronounce all
I'm
kinds
very
of
glad.
words. Yeah.
Well, one of the things I know you're in, obviously, the Dungarees, and a little bit about them, and how are they doing during the COVID and everything else?
Well, the Dungarees were in a hiatus because, you simply can't get gigs. So what I did is I spent the time. We have an album, whole entire album's worth of stuff that we recorded, all songs I wrote. Probably about 12, 13 songs on the album. So we want to press a CD so we can sell them at the shows and stuff. All the artwork's done. Any of the pictures of the band are ready to go. So it's just a matter of about a month. We're going to go ahead. Everything's been mastered, and just press some CDs out and start playing out and doing some more gigs around town. One of our big places is Johnny's. You know that.
Yes.
Yeah, and just everywhere all over town. So if everybody gets a chance to come out and see the Dungarees, please do. And our slogan is the Dungarees. Stick that in your pants.
Yeah.
That's our little...
Plus that mean little leprechaun logo, which I love.
Oh, yeah. Well,
does he have a name?
He does. It's Liam the Leprechaun. And the way that came about is I wrote a song called Leprechaun Stew. And it's about this happy little leprechaun. He's skipping through the woods, and he's just so happy it pisses me off. So I get a big stick, beat the bejesus out of him, and make a stew. It's one of those feel-good songs. You know what I'm talking about, guys.
As long as your Dungarees aren't acid wash. That's
how creative. That's got to be a name for an album, Acid Wash. Have you guys all tripping out on something?
How about Leprechaun Stew? I did an album actually called Leprechaun Stew. And
that would be great.
Yeah.
But it's amazing. It's different how creative people have responded. I was going, I'm going to focus on my writing, do everything. I could barely get up to do my laundry. I have other friends who, like my friend Sean McVeigh from King Buffalo, he's been on here. He's recorded 4 albums worth of material during all this. And other people have, put their a lot of people did streaming. You've done streaming. You do a lot of, song streaming. I've seen that.
I cleaned my basement.
He cleaned his basement.
Like 10 years.
But it's an interesting, so now for the Dungarees, when you played Screamfest, you always do the cover songs. Do you do a mix-in concert, or do you do mostly your originals, or?
Well, what it is we do a bunch of covers, and then we pepper in our originals, So even at Screamfest, I'll say, hey, this is one of our original songs, whichever one it is, and we just pepper those in. So, because people want to hear songs they know. If you just do a whole night of just your own original stuff, even it could be really good music, but some people are like, hey, can you, Freebird, you always get people.
Well, one band I did. This is another band I think I did with Donnie Mancuso back in the, we're talking late 70s and all that. But we did a thing, and they had a bunch of songs, and what we did was we put the original set in the middle. And we bookended it with cover sets.
That's a good way to do it.
And so it seemed like a fun way to do it, because then, hopefully you got your people settled in, you got them in a groove, and then, you play all your stuff, and then you take a break, and then you come back and play some more fun shit.
Did you ever do the Pete Townsend theory? You used to say with The Who, we start them off with the hits, then we do the difficult stuff in the middle, and then to reward them for being good, we do the hits at the end.
There's a big psychology to a set list, you got to kind of...
It is. It's like booking a pro wrestling card. You got to try to do this, not try to do the same. Yeah. But what brought you to Screamfest? Because that's how we met.
Well, a friend of mine I was working with, he had ended up actually leaving the company that I was working for, but we became vast friends. We both like horror a lot, So I told him I was in a band, and, we both had the same interests, and he said, hey, how would you like to play Screamfest? So, that's really how that came about. Yeah. So we played for a couple of years, and obviously last year...
it was the car ride thing.
Well, it was, but somebody told me, I don't know if this is true, but there's some kind of virus or something going around. Did you hear about this thing, you guys? I don't know.
Inklings. I heard some rumors.
I heard, some rumors about this thing. So, I guess they didn't have it this year.
I stayed in touch with Tom, and we went back and forth. What they did, it couldn't have been, I wasn't there. They couldn't have music. What it was, it's in Hamlin. It's at the town of Hamlin. They got a big field. Okay. What they did was, it was just a drive-through. They had people come out, the ghosts or whatever, and then they like tried to give the kids distance bags of goodies at the end, because obviously you couldn't have anything like we usually have.
Right. But the year before that was a blast, because they had people dressed up like zombies, and you could shoot the zombies with paint guns. How cool is that?
That's awesome.
And the pumpkin chuck.
Yeah.
And that's why I was hoping I'd recognize you, because all I do is see you as that ghoul guy with the hat and everything.
If you're wearing masks and you're in disguise for something like this, what's the difference if the virus thing was... you're covered up.
Right. Well,
it is,
but hopefully it'll return. I'm just going day by day and everything on this kind of stuff, though.
I just want to be able to go into a bar and, hang out. It's so weird still. You walk in... You got to get, I don't know.
Remember the day...
You got to do this. You got to sit here. You got to order the food. Hurry up. Do this. It's like, you can't I came here to relax, not to, follow a regimen.
That's how, I've gone, when you go out before, it was, okay, you're playing, I'm going to go see you. Come out, pick wherever, stand, sit, do whatever. Now you got to make sure you get there early so you get a seat.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's nuts.
I just miss playing.
Yeah, see, that's the thing.
That's my thing.
That's why I was talking Irish whiskey instead of Irish songs during St. Patrick's Day.
I have a couple in May and June, and I think August maybe, but one here, one there. So
yeah, and you figure, I don't know if there's going to be a rush of bands to play, or people are going to be...
Sure there is.
And everything. But now, how much is there, obviously, with the Leprechaun stuff, how much is there an Irish music influence in the Dungarees? None?
Well, quite a bit.
That's what I would figure.
Me and my guitar player, one of my guitar players in the band, his name is Sean Casey, and we'll go out and just play a duet, basically, of Irish stuff. Well, we'll just play Irish stuff pretty much the whole night. And we'll play at Barry's Irish Pub, we'll play at Johnny's, we'll play at any Irish pub that'll pretty much have us. We played down in Avon, all over. So that's one thing I got going on. And then with the other guitar player,
that's cool.
Her name is Christine. She's a phenomenal guitar player, and we call ourselves Deuces Are Wild. And we'll go out and play more of acoustic rock type of music. Mm-hmm. So we got that going on, and then the Dungarees as well. And we will definitely, like I like to say, pepper in some of the Irish stuff into our set. We're not afraid to pick our best Irish stuff and rock it out. So that's fun. But really, what I'm really proud of recently is a band that's called Soul Rash. And you can find us on Spotify, Apple Music. You can find us on YouTube. You can just pull up YouTube, and you can listen to... We have 3 songs out so far. We have several more in the works. We're working on a song right now called The Other Side of Midnight that I'm also going to hopefully put on a new Netflix series called The Dead Awake.
Not the Dead Awake. That might be scarier. Imagine all those dead. Get off my lawn.
Exactly. So it's in pre-production right now, and one of our songs is they have a promotional video out, and one of our songs is featured on that, and that one's called Welcome Home. So basically, the 3 songs we have out are Loco. It's about, a train and a person going crazy type of thing. And
not about cheap booze. That's the first thing I thought.
No. And then the second one is a song called Cold Green Line, which me and the guitar player wrote about the subway down in Boston. They have the green line, the red line, the yellow line. Well, the green line is where all the bums hang out. And it's kind of fun, kind of tongue in cheek, kind of funny about this bum who comes up to me, saying any donations, just need a little to get by. Oh, thanks for the quarter. I hope it don't drain you dry. You know what I mean? And then of course the chorus goes, I'm stealing bread when I should be sipping wine. I guess I'll be sleeping down that cold green line.
Nice. So I've had the weirdest, because I used to work at bars downtown, and I would do the door, I would clean them and everything. But I would get hit up by people for money, and they would ask for the weirdest amounts. I would get guys asking me, do you have $1.98?
Right.
And I'm figuring, okay,
you got to write down to the penny.
So what I started doing is I started bringing Jolly Ranchers and handing them out to them, and they all seemed happy with that. But it was the weirdest thing. It was never, okay, give me $1, $2. There's always some set change or something.
See, for me, I'm afraid that they're going to go out and buy a bottle of booze with it. I'd rather just carry a sandwich in my pocket and say, here you go.
That was the problem.
I had an old roommate who was a psych major at U of R, and he always offered to take people out to lunch or do something like that, and they'd always refuse. And so it's like the psychology is just like they just want them, whatever. I think they want the money, and they're going to do what they want to do with it.
Well, we had the one guy going around.
They don't really want to get better.
Yeah, we had the one guy going around. He would just say, I wanted him to get a 40.
Right.
Well, but he sort of played the fool.
There's points for honesty, I guess.
Yeah, I guess so,
like that and everything. But how did you come about getting something on a Netflix show or that's going to be coming up?
Well, basically, I'm recording with some guys who are out in Colorado.
I was going to bring this up. Wait for this.
Yeah, it's really cool because what it is my old lead guitar player, we used to play for a band called Grand Jury for years. And
then they got convicted.
Exactly. That's right, man. We used to say, the gavel is coming down on the Penny Arcade.
Yeah.
Where did you come up? You got these great slogans for all your bands.
You're a good tagline guy.
We used to have our own shot called a gavel. And we used to be theatrical.
Wait. What was the gavel? What was the shot?
It was, let me see if I can remember. It was Peachtree Schnapps and Southern Comfort mixed.
Wow.
And they'd chill them. And when we played at the Island Cottage or something like that, they already had gavels mixed up and ready to go. And it'd be like shot break almost between every single song. So, I remember just taking shots and throwing them over my shoulder because if I drank another shot, I'd be falling on my face.
It's like that, a kick in the
the singer fell off the stage tonight.
It's like, I can't do this
That's
anymore.
like the old, my friend Rob, when he had his stag party, he just told me beforehand, he goes, Robbie, just don't give me a shot. Because you know what happens? Everybody wants to give you a shot.
I can't do
so
shots.
I ended up taking him home and us getting chased by his mom with the broom because we barely got him in the house.
People make fun of me because I sip shots and they're like brandy or something.
We're not in college.
I can't slam shit. I can't do it.
But we made our own drink up. We had a play with my friends MJ and others 10 years ago called Lipstick Massacre with Pandora Box. And we had the parties at Tilt and our friend Meredith was in it. We just went up to the bartender and we said, make a shot called the Meredith. Make sure it's red. It's her favorite color. So we have the shot the Meredith. And I have no idea what's in there. It was good, though. But that's a good way to, a good tie-in. That's the gavel shot.
But it's important, it's important to have those little taglines. And
the angry leprechaun for the Dungarees.
Yeah, that's cool.
Gotta have a theme.
It was a lot of fun because, like I said, when we'd play there, we'd sell, a crap load of gavels for the bar, so they'd love it. So we'd say, go up to the bar and get yourself a gavel, shot break, and so the bar owners loved us.
I would have puked.
I tell you what,
and something.
Rumplement would be worse, but that's.
It was sweet, tasty yet potent. So.
Right.
It was a double shot, it's a swift kick in the old derriere.
Well, we were talking Irish whiskey around St. Patrick's Day. But how did you come with this band from Colorado? Did they just...
Yeah, so basically, Grand Jury, we ended up, playing for years and years. And so my lead guitar player, I moved out of state for a while, and then I came back, and we started an Irish band called the Dungarees. And then he ended up moving to Colorado for work. He had to do it. His best friend, Jim Roberts, owns a studio where Kansas. Steve Walsh just did a new album there. Major acts. Collective Soul just recorded some stuff there. As a matter of fact, we have the drummer from Collective Soul playing on all these cuts that you'll hear on the internet, anywhere you can find, or Apple Music, wherever you can find music. And so it's really cool having the drums are phenomenal on these tracks. And anyways, so he moved out there, and he knows this guy Jim. Jim knows all the guys from Collective Soul and all these different bands. And Chris's brother lives in Manhattan. So the lead guitar player that I played with for years, his brother lives in Manhattan. And he's the one who's the producer of a show. He's an actor. The guy's a genius. And as a matter of fact, he actually invited Chris and I to actually be on the show as zombies. Interesting side note, I said, really? He goes, well, you'd have to get to Manhattan. I said, well, that's not a problem. Don't worry about that, but I have an idea for my zombie. He goes, really? What's that? I said, tell me if you like this, okay? So here's the scenario. I first turn into a zombie, and I'm really hungry because zombies get hungry, especially when they're first born, right? So anyways, so I try to chase a person down, right? And I'm chasing them, but I'm just not fast enough because I'm a zombie, right? So then I look around and I just start ripping my face off and eating it.
No, that's different.
And he said, I don't think that's ever been done. I go, I don't either. He goes, we're going to do that. So
do you have a go-to zombie movie? Like one you, obviously probably a Romero fan.
Big George Romero. He's the one, if it wasn't for him, there wouldn't be,
modern zombie
Walking
stuff,
Dead and all that stuff. So of course the original
Dawn of the Dead, though, is probably the best.
Phenomenal. It's one of the best.
Is that the one in the shopping mall?
Yeah.
Day of the Dead, Dawn of the Dead, Return of the Living Dead, Return of the Living Dead Part 2. But, of course, the original, that's what started it all out. So if I had to say, I'd have to go with the very first one. Even though it
scared the hell out of me when I was a kid.
Me too.
But the best one I've seen lately, I just couldn't help rewatching it, is The Dead Don't Die, Jim Jarmusch's.
Oh, that's a great
And I love it. And the thing is, it's so self-aware, though, but the thing is, when you're a zombie, I love the idea that you're obsessed with whatever you were in life. So they've got, some models. Fashion. Iggy Pop's a coffee-obsessed zombie. And I just love it. And they're a little, self-aware of the whole movie because probably the genre, what else can you do?
Right.
Have a zombie eating himself.
Yeah.
Really?
No, that's you.
Oh, I was going to say, somebody else has done that yet? All right, so
copyright right here.
Exactly, copyright right here.
I love, that's a little thing nobody ever thinks of. And they don't try to eat each other. They must taste bad.
Right, just start chomping on my arm like a freaking, chicken leg. You know what I mean? I just thought it would be funny.
So you're just a stump dragging yourself around?
Exactly.
That would be really fun. But then you have now this video coming out, or you said you've had it, which, again, during the time of the COVID, there's lots of these videos showing musicians all over the place in different areas. Mm-hmm. Primetime Funk did one. Grace done one from the RPO. You've done this, though.
Yep. Well, this one's really highly produced because it's for a TV show. So
doesn't mean anything. I produced something in my basement, for Toronto porn channels, when I was in the 1980s.
Well, I mean, this is really well done. So I encourage anybody who wants to look up "Welcome Home" and find the video. It's out there. Maybe we could have Andy try to pull up the song so we could listen to it.
We'll see. Wait for a treat at the end.
All right. Critique the song, and I mean, really, what the song is about is about a haunted house, and it's a song about when I was a child. I used to have this reoccurring nightmare, and so basically, I approached the house. To make a quick, long story short here. I walk around the back of the house, and the wind's blowing, and in the swing, there's a doll swinging slowly, anyways, he turns his head and looks at me and says, "Welcome home. Where have you been for so long?"
Yeah.
So it's really creepy.
All I can think of is you're out my side of the city, but that old doll hospital by Chile.
Oh yeah, that's creepy.
Yeah, that's.
I know right where you're talking on Buffalo Road.
Yeah.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
But that's good. Did you sort of grow up in the country-ish like that or everything?
Yeah, it's actually about a house that I used to live in. It was an old country house, and it says let's see, something about as the shutters are torn, the house begins to moan. And it's my whole dream is in black and white, and he did a good job of kind of capturing this on video,
Another scare. Why are dolls so scary? You have any ideas, Greg? Or
well,
this is the picture of the cover of the
lovely.
Song. Yeah, so.
Probably because they're supposed to be your friend, but I think you attach a personality to it, and I think I don't know.
And there's always
they don't talk, and then you're like, I don't know. They're just creepy. I don't know.
There's always those stories, too, about, like, I went to Rolling Hills Asylum with my friend Liz and some of our friends some years ago, and there was a story about the Linden murders. There's, like, some serial killer. I guess Linden's close to where Rolling Hills is. Yeah. It's by Bethlehem, New York.
Probably because they represent innocence and the fact that...
And what happened was, I guess they thought some inmate was getting out of Rolling Hills and murdering people, then coming back. The chow must have been good.
Right.
But one of my things in terms of scary stories like that, we have relatives who were in Avon, and they would take me. My parents would go out to dinner with them. They'd take me and my other cousin, and my grandmother would babysit us there. And there was one October night. It was like the wind going. We swore there was somebody trying to get in the house outside. It was terrifying. And then their parents got home. But okay, to make the story would be great if we saw footprints or something. We didn't. It was the wind, but it's like how it all plays. And I can imagine if I saw a doll on a swing.
Right.
Good night.
Yeah. Well, you got the Annabelle movies, Conjuring, and all those.
But then the doll slowly turns and he looks at me and he says, "Welcome home." So that's the creepy part.
How do you write your songs in terms of that? Do you go with you get just an idea grains in your head and then you just.
Well, the way that song was written is Chris had this really melodic guitar stuff going, and it just sounded eerie. And I said, well, geez, he said, what do you want to write a song about? This is what I got. I said, boy, that sounds like eerie and creepy. I said, I used to have this reoccurring nightmare. Why don't we write something about that? He goes, yeah, tell me what happened in the nightmare. So we both sat down and wrote these lyrics. And, in my dream, there is no doll. But we put a doll in that swing. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Well, let's just make it worse.
Right. Let's make it even more creepy.
Well, that's a good visual, though.
It is.
Look at all the stories that have been done about ventriloquists and ventriloquist dummies. And
it's usually Chucky, when you're involved, you just come in to do the music after the song's written, Greg, like after the lyrics are in or everything, or you take part like in some of the bands you do.
Well, it depends. The couple of songs we're doing with Anonymous Willpower, I wrote some of the lyrics. And then,
Trailer Romance.
Yeah. Well, Susie threw a couple lines in there. And then we're working on two new ones that I did. Well, actually, they're old ones. One's called Blame It on Rock and Roll, which is just a big kind of like a tongue-in-cheek thing about growing up. And it, this is the reason I'm fucked up because of this rock and roll.
It's rock and roll. I've just become really fascinated.
It's right, Universal's topic. So
I've been very fascinated with the creative process because I've been working on some demos with a friend and just seeing how she usually types out her lyrics and then they flesh out the music and they do all
sometimes
this.
You get one before the other. Sometimes it's just I got this thing, now what kind of words can go with it, and then other times you do the opposite.
But are you one of those guys who's got your phone handy because you might be driving along like my friend Greg Townsend? He's driving along one day, he sees a sign ATM inside. He writes a song about it.
Well, I heard, I don't know, I was watching TV or something, and somebody said, we can do that on the other side of midnight. I go, the other side of midnight?
Yeah.
Holy crap. So I put a note in my phone. I go, the other side of midnight, and then I wrote a song around that. I just wrote a song last week called Spellbound because I'm going, that's a really cool word. That's a song right there, Spellbound.
Right.
And I wrote a song just around one word.
That's like the difference
between word, but it's one word.
Yeah.
That's the difference between creative people and me.
Well, you tend to see humor in certain things or lines. I wish I could think of something right now off the bat, but like a turn of phrase, like all that old vaudeville stuff, like where they would who's on first type of shit, you know. I mean, it's like, you know, you can just, the English language is interesting that way because you can say things that wouldn't make any sense in another language.
And I have an idea for Screamfest. It'll happen again. We need, like Iron Maiden with Eddie, we need to have the little leprechaun guy there.
Right.
Absolutely. You know, it's funny that you say that. We were going to hire a little person to go around and pass a hat at one point in time. It was one of our ideas. It never came to fruition, but you know, we just thought, you know, especially because we were doing all this Irish stuff, leprechaun stew.
You cook them at the end.
You cook them, yeah. We throw them in a pot and start throwing some potatoes in it. I also wrote a song called. Oh, now I can't remember. It's not coming to me.
That's a good name.
Anyways, at the end of Leprechaun Stew, so I go, so I stuffed a little bastard in a great big pot along with a tater or two. Leprechaun Stew. You know, it's just it's a silly, funny song that's a lot of fun.
There's like something I ask a lot of artists who come on. What was really like about the first song you've ever like written, and who were your influences when you were growing up in terms of music?
Why don't you take it?
Influences? Well, I don't know. I mean, obviously top 40. I mean, when I was growing up, it was top 40. So I got in a band when I was like 16. So we were playing, Na Na Na, Kiss 'Em Goodbye, and, Inagada Davida, and all this other crap.
That was the thing. When we were growing up, it was so much harder to access different music. That was the thing. My brother was in a band around here, so I got to know like a lot of like the different things, like the Ramones and all that stuff. But most of it was like those shows late at night, like what was like Wolfman Jack or Midnight Special or all those.
Well, I mean, I we got an age difference too. So I mean, when I was a teenager, I mean, it was like the late 60s and early 70s. So I got a little bit of prog and Monkees and all the stuff before that, and Dave Clark 5. I was really into like the British Invasion stuff.
They claimed at the point they thought the Dave Clark 5 was going to overtake the Beatles and be better known and everything.
Yeah.
But
they were good, but they weren't that good.
Well, it's amazing, like reading about the Beatles. Like there was one point where like the press went against them. They said like, well, they're done. Dave Clark 5, Herman's Hermits, everything.
The thing about the Beatles that I don't know if it's like an argument or that, but they seem to be the template to me for everything about the music business. They were kind of manipulated. They were kind of over-marketed. But their music was so strong. But they were, you know what I mean? They were like, here's a rock and roll band. Okay, you dream about it, you get a break. Then they market the crap out of you. And then, I mean, when you look at all the pictures, they must have had guys taking pictures of them freaking 24 hours a day.
Can you imagine the pressure cooker? And then you go from like these little pop darlings, you change, you don't just...
Right, so they're kind of the poster children, so to speak.
Right.
I mean?
Especially in the earlier years. I think in the later years, when they had more control of what they were doing, they were just able to take a lot of drugs and be real super creative.
Right.
I mean,
that was a good sentence the way you said that.
It's true. That's what happened.
Well, that was like one of mine. I got the kick out of because of my name, Dr. Robert, because that was like their pill dealer. I'm like,
well, if you look at them, they were good. They were almost like they would take whatever they heard and, hey, country, let's do a country thing. So they actually were like a cover band.
No, Paul wanted
they would take all their influences and just do it their way.
Beach Boys, back in the USSR.
Right.
Yeah. Paul wanted to be Buddy Holly.
Right.
I was thinking. Now, there's still more to Billy, though. What else do you do in terms of business?
Oh, yeah. I actually I own a store right over in Henrietta at 120 Mushroom Boulevard. And I sell...
Mushrooms?
Mushrooms, exactly. I tell you, it's just me and the leprechauns over there. But
that's why you're seeing these leprechauns. Now I got it.
Now you got it. Yeah, I tell you. And then I just beat the bejesus out of them with a vacuum. But anyways, I sell and repair vacuums, but that's really just about a quarter of the business.
I will interrupt for a second.
Sure,
I did want to get into the vacuum business, but I found I sucked at it.
Well, that's a great one. I've never heard that one before. Thanks.
No, I knew that. I am so original.
But I also sell, especially during this pandemic, a lot of disinfectants, janitorial supplies. So I supply.
Right.
I have everything from toilet paper, 96 roll toilet paper.
You have it all.
How did that go? I have to ask, how did that go when this started? Did you get swamped for it?
I got swamped. I sold probably 3 or 4 pallets of toilet paper, and then I couldn't get any more toilet paper.
Wow.
But I mean,
You used a leprechaun.
Yeah, I did. I wiped with a leprechaun. Yeah, you hated that. But then I got multi-fold towels, but mainly like any type of cleaning supplies, spot removers. But I repair all, make some mocks.
People want to get rid of their dogs that bad.
Yeah, right. Yep. So, but that's my business, and I've been doing that for years and years. But of course, my passion is music. That's really what. I sell and repair vacuums and cleaning supplies so I can make music.
At least you don't live in a vacuum.
Yes. I don't. Good point.
But you hear all the stories that come out, they're really funny, about people who super panicked about toilet paper. They bought stacks and stacks, and they tried to return it to stores afterwards.
Yeah.
I still don't understand how that was the big panic of all the panics you could have.
Yeah, no kidding.
It's like my friend Sean. He's really good in investing and about money and stuff. He was one time about there's like some panic. He goes, "You got any gold? Sell it." Because what are you going to do? Give them like go to Wegmans and go, "Here's a stack of gold."
Well, depends on who you talk to.
Yeah. I'll buy his gold cheap.
Yeah, but that's how. But yeah, it's the thing. It's like it's always good. You do something you like to fuel your passion.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure you do the same thing. I mean, you can't make a living being a musician most of the time,
unless you're Mick Jagger.
Well, yeah, I mean, unless you hit it big, and it's hard to. You got to know somebody.
Right.
You can't just say, okay, I'm going to be rich today.
I toured for a while.
Unless your name
with
is
the
Richard.
Cover bands and stuff. I mean, I just wanted that experience of touring. Mm-hmm. I mean, I did it for like 7 years.
Oh, wow. Impressive.
I mean, I got to go to Europe and stuff. And,
Did you come home with a big pocket full of money?
No. Came home with a couple $1,000.
Right.
You drank the rest away.
But we had a lot of money sent home, so I had money waiting for me.
You played this gig. We paid you $400. You drink $1,000 worth of beer.
Right, yeah.
Well, but the thing is, I like the music leads itself to other things. You get friendships out of it. You meet, like, okay, let's say you. I mean, if I ever need something for vacuums and cleaning, I know a guy, so I can come to you, and, I feel good about working with people that I actually know. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Through music, I've met a lot of people.
That's my life, too, just from going to shows and stuff. I'm like a local icon on the scene. I know everybody, and I bring... But like my friend Rob Mount's a great example. He started playing when we were in high school. He's been like in bands 50-50, which you cover bands,
right.
Stranger. He was drumming for Lou Gramm. Lou wanted his brother back for his farewell tour, but he was a drummer. He's played at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. He's played with all these. And it's amazing, awesome. 6 degrees of separation. He knows all these people.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And he started like that. And I think a lot of people I know, like a couple friends of mine, they do cover bands so they can do original music.
Right.
Yep.
Right. I mean, I enjoy getting out there, and it keeps you limbered up. I mean, you gotta play. I mean, you can't just
you'll lose your chops
sitting in the basement.
Keith Moon would forget how to drum because Townsend would take so long sometimes to write songs that he would just forget how to do it.
So we tried all at once when he started playing.
But I was going to ask you guys, like, we're all of that age. We grew up with the good old albums, 8-tracks even, cassettes. Yeah. What do you think of all these new formats and ways to get your music out? Like, obviously, you've been talking about Spotify.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Well, it's hard to get paid on a lot of that kind of stuff.
See, that's what I've just not
one of
really...
my problems.
I hear it. Pretty bad. I mean, I went to a Carmine Peace clinic.
Is it a piece or apathy?
I don't know.
I've always said a piece.
He said in his book he changed it over the years.
You've said your piece. No, I and he said, oh, you can get 1 million hits and you make like $4,000. And it's like, because to him, that's really no money. I mean, it's like, I think it's really hard. It's like, what, a quarter
he never
of a
wrote
cent?
The songs. That the writers get the...
Well, I think his big claim to fame was he co-wrote "Do You Think I'm Sexy?"
Yeah, but that was like it, I think.
Yeah, then Rod Stewart fired him.
Well, I think Sharon.
He's doing Cactus right. Sharon fired him from Ozzy. Yeah. Rod said, "I love you," but he even did the intro for his book. Yes, I love him, but I fired him.
Yeah,
but he's doing Cactus again now.
Yeah, I got one of the albums, Cactus. What was it called? Cactus 5 or something. It's really good. I like the.
He's never stopped. But it's just because I'm never going to ask, but I have a couple, this is in terms of friends, I have a couple friends, they have like top 10 hits right now in blues, Spotify, and country. And because I know like in terms of like YouTube and everything, I've seen people, they get millions of viewers, but they don't make any money or anything.
Yeah, I think the model's not put together very well because the platform makes all the money. Mm-hmm. I think the only good thing that's come out of it is that touring is viable because that's how you make your money. So when the touring thing starts up again,
remember back in the day, these tours could be crazy.
Touring never used to make any money.
Crazy and extravagant because the albums would sell so well. You could go out. It's like the old 1970s where tours were like orgies and everything crazy because you could go out, tickets were like $3,
right.
But it was the albums that sold. So the tours were just like to promote them. So you could go. Now the albums don't sell anything. So
vinyl's creeping back. I think it's gonna swing back to something else because I think, the trouble with all this downloading and all the other stuff is it's okay, great, you listen to it, but it's just not. There's no interaction. It's just okay. Here's my playlist, and it's just a bunch of.
See, I'm still old school like that. Like, I'm not mad at one of my friends, but right now she's got an album I really want out, but she hasn't put it on CD or album yet, and I don't want to download it.
And then the way you got to mix it, you got to compress the crap out of everything.
And how's it go for work? Because that's the thing. I remember the old thing with Metallica with Napster.
Yeah.
And I don't know how the whole rights thing goes or anything, because even when we have permission from musicians, we get flagged on here for playing stuff sometimes.
Really?
Yeah. You know what it is? It's because, like Josh Sineski told me, I played Maybird, and he said he's been flagged for playing his own music. That doesn't get us in trouble. It's just what we're here to promote you, whoever's our guest. And any royalties, it's going to go to you.
Well, it's like those ASCAP guys. Those ASCAP guys go to the bars and stuff.
And what they do is somebody must pull it, and we just get a thing, and we go, we're not trying to make money. We want our guests to make money.
Right.
But like I told Josh and I told Michaela this, Michaela said it was crazy. But Josh just said, we've been flagged for playing our own songs.
Strange.
And they've got songs on the Man of High Castle and iZombie too right now too. So this is going around.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of it. Maybe because of my age, but I just think I just kind of miss buying something and holding it and looking at it.
See, that's what I do too. That's why I'm ticked because I don't really download it.
I've been doing this thing. I finally got this. My girlfriend got me this turntable thing like years ago, a USB thing. So I finally got it put together and not put together, but I finally downloaded it and got the software and everything, and I've been recording all these 45s and stuff that I have.
Mm-hmm. But one of the problems is when you create a whole piece of music, people come in and just cherry pick a couple of good songs. They don't get to hear all your music.
Right,
You're missing out on a whole crap load of really good stuff.
And they're not hearing the connection between all the songs, possibly.
I always look at technology as a positive and negative. You think a negative is it's also a positive. You can get your stuff out, but millions of people can get their stuff out. So you have to there's so much out there. And somebody might go, like, if you have a really short attention span, and I think due to media these days, everybody does, you might play this artist, a minute of a song, go on.
Yeah, it's not doing it for me.
Next.
Yeah. And I guess I'm kind of like, I really don't like the fact that any idiot in their bedroom can do it. I just like, where's the talent? Where's the training? Where's the hard knocks?
Yeah.
I don't know.
You and I have paid our dues. We're older. We've been playing in bars and stuff all over the place.
And I'll make the biggest analogy, and it rings true. Maybe you're not a fan. You've been forced on the Show with the Masked Drummer. Pro wrestling. Back in the day, you got a guy who came up. This guy was playing 100 shows in a night, making $40 a show, driving out, learning his craft.
Yeah.
Musicians would always, you'd be playing the bars, paying your dues, and coming out, you'd be seasoned. Like that leprechaun in that pot.
Right.
Now they just see, that person's got the look. Can they sing? Who gives a shit?
Right.
It's good that you don't have to suffer some of the stuff that you have to go through, but at the same time, I think it's a false. I don't know. it's just too processed for me. And it's good. I don't think Billie Eilish is anything. I don't know why she's the
there we go.
I hate her
because of Adriana. I listened to Ocean Eyes, and I watched her on. And you know what? I'll give her these things about her. They do their own songs. She connects with the audience. She's herself. She's not a diva. She's not all prim and proper. She does the "I'm one of you." You see the audience. It's not my cup of tea in terms of music, but I can see why she's got to reach on her fan base.
I just have always wondered how they pick the. Okay, this is this year's, and obviously she's last year's person.
Because they need somebody.
All of a sudden, you're just hearing about this one person all over the place that comes out of nowhere, and I just never.
But I do have a question. I have an idea for next.
Like Ed Sheeran, he was huge for a while, and now what's he doing?
Yeah. There's so many people. It's like those actors from some like Eric Stoltz. He was in everything, or Matthew Lillard. Then where the heck is he? But I had the idea. Can we be leprechauns at the next Screamfest? The world's tallest leprechauns?
Sure, 100%.
Zombie leprechauns.
Zombie leprechauns, and I'll make a stew out of you. You know, cut you up and throw you in a big...
With growth hormones.
Yeah.
Well, what do you have, like, in terms of the future? You're just going to keep on keeping on with everything?
Well, like
hoping there's gigs, I hope?
Yeah, I mean, you know, I just talked to... we have one person left in the band who's going to get their second shot. As soon as that happens, we're going to start practicing again.
Second shot at being in the band because he sucked before a second vaccine shot?
A little of both. But anyway, so a second shot of Pfizer. So, then we're going to get back to work. We're going to get the CD out there and start booking gigs. When it comes to, that's with the Dungarees. Now, the Soul Rash project that I got going on with these guys in Denver, I'm flying out there in June, and we plan on recording a whole bunch of stuff and having a whole bunch of fun. But the way this has been working is we've been Zoom calling, and I'll play them an idea I might have, and then, they take it, run with it, send me back their tracks, and I sing over it. So we're working across country.
Have you been there ever?
I've been there one time.
My friend, my dear friend Marissa moved out there. She's around Boulder, and she keeps telling me it's the most beautiful place she's ever been. She'll send me pictures of mountains. She tells me, you got to come down here when this stuff. Next day, she tells me, well, I'm stuck in my apartment. There's 2 feet of snow outside my apartment. Wow, come to Colorado. It's like...
It's really cool out there. I mean, I had a great time. I'll tell you what, I ate a cookie out there. My phone was never so interesting.
Wink. Let me put it. One of my best sights. I saw, this was back in the day when we could have concerts. I saw Jason Isbell at the Beacon Theater, me and my buddy Moondog Dave. Mm-hmm. So we drove back. There was supposedly a big snowstorm by Syracuse, so we got rerouted through Ithaca. Mm-hmm. Portent of things to come. Number one, I saw an ice sculpture of Richard Nixon.
That's not something you see every day.
But number two, I saw a picture of Winnie the Pooh in a weed field.
That's awesome. Well, hey, it's legal. I mean, you can walk right down the street smoking a doobie if you want to these days. Seriously.
Which one
great.
of the Doobie Brothers, though? Yeah. When I was a kid, I never knew that meant... Because I like the Doobie Brothers, right. I never knew what that meant.
Right.
They ain't related, but they do be brothers.
That's right.
Yes. But that's really cool and stuff. You have so much going on. But how do we get some of your stuff, too?
Well, I mean, so the easiest way to listen to our stuff once we release a CD, you'll be able to hear.
Or if we want it physically or anything.
Yeah.
You got it at your store, don't you?
Yeah, I have our first album at my store. The next one's coming out. This one's called Midnight Moonshine with the Dungarees. And it's a song that I wrote about traveling around, traveling around the world, everyone from Chicago to New Orleans, and it's and making moonshine and being chased by the law, and I'm a bootlegger.
Right.
A lot of fun stuff.
I'm turning green because I had relatives in Georgia who would bring it up in the mason jars. Mm-hmm. I dipped my finger in it one time. I remember, I sipped some. I passed it on the lawn and woke up raining outside.
My buddy was playing with these guys from Hamlin, and they were making moonshine, and he brought me some. It's freaking shit. It just as soon as you swallow it, man, your guts on.
And the other one was
you can feel it all the way down.
Toro Flaming Shots, this Italian moonshine.
That sounds like a bad idea.
How many albums do you have out by now with the... I mean, how long have you actually... I've never even asked you this. How long have you've been around with the Dungarees and everything?
Well, a quick story. I started out with a friend of mine who lives in Buffalo. His name is Mike Sortino. of all things, playing for an Irish band, Mike Sergino, nice Irish boy. But anyways,
Irish around here.
So we started as just kind of fun, us jamming, and then we ended up becoming traveling minstrels at the Renaissance Fair. So we dress up,
cool,
we go around and just annoy people all day and get paid for it.
That's what they do there. I know. I've been to those things. It got to the...
It was fun. We did that for a couple of years, and then we started writing, and we do a bunch of covers on this one first CD, and that's the CD. It's called Leprechaun Stew. And after that, he ended up leaving, but I stuck around with I think you had him down here, Steve Wright, the bass player. He plays for the John Payton project.
I've had John on.
Oh, you've had John on?
Yeah.
Well, anyways,
he's a wrestling drummer expert. We talk wrestling,
he's awesome.
drumming.
Oh, yeah.
Great guy.
Yeah, and they're great. They came out to see us quite a few times. And he's got a really good band. But needless to say, then we kind of became the Spinal Tap of like folk music, traditional Irish folk music, and
A Mighty Wind,
and rock and roll. yeah, something like that. You know, it could have been A Mighty Wind. You know, whatever. But I mean, because like we had one guy. We had a bouzouki player who ended up overdosing on heroin. We've been through probably 3 or 4 different lead guitar players, several different fiddlers. It's just like the turnover is, you know. I mean, now we got this girl, Christine, playing lead guitar, and she's phenomenal. And we have Joe DiStefano, another Irish boy.
Mediterranean Irish.
Exactly. Mediterranean Irish. I play on the drums. Great player. And we got Sean Casey, a nice Italian boy.
There you go.
On a rhythm guitar, and then myself on guitar and vocals.
The fights must be monumental.
Oh no, it is. It's funny. We really don't argue very much. You know, they're all original songs that we've been writing, and we learned some. We just learned some Jackson Browne and stuff. Of course, I say just a year ago, we learned a bunch of stuff a bunch of great covers. So we're going to be out there, you know, hitting the scene.
Keep an eye on them. This sounds like a really good time.
Yeah, it's going to be good. I'm going to look it up.
Great having you, man.
I'm sorry I didn't bring you any of the stuff I did with the Anonymous Willpower or anything. I'll have to get some time.
Well, I might see them like coming up pretty soon too. And we'd love to have like if you could bring Liam back too with you and come back sometime.
Oh, definitely. I could bring him with you, right, Liam? But of course I couldn't come back in the next time.
Why is the drummer making up a pot over there? But no, now we're going to have like a song and everything. We can surprise the people with what you play and everything else.
You get the dry ice working.
And I will say, in terms of talking about Don and Susie from Anonymous Willpower, they're playing a Johnny's on this Friday.
Yeah, they're doing a
Greg
trio.
won't be there.
No, they're doing a trio thing. But we're doing a thing at Abilene in May, so.
Nice.
Oh, and by the way, shout out to Danny. And Abilene is opening again after I think they were closed, November, October last year.
Yeah.
They're opening this Friday on the 30th, but Adriana Noon's playing there on the 1st, so I'll be down there.
Okay.
So, and then they're doing, actually, Billy Bremner from Rockpile is supposed to be there in September. I got a ticket already because I figured maybe with the second wave, it might only be limited to 5 people. Right. So, but they're opening again, so bless everybody.
That's something you were saying about, platforms or whatever. But now this whole thing of now you got to, you can't just show up. You got to get a ticket and you got to look ahead.
Yeah, see, look, I just actually,
I'm not real good at that stuff because I just want to show up.
That's me too. It's like Photo City. My friends Dangerbird are playing there. Usually, you just walk in. River Lynch is playing there. You got to get a ticket. Or what's fun?
Just the way it goes.
Say you're going to a gig or whatever. Like when we had the gig at B-side, I made sure I got a table. Like before, I'd say, "Hey, Greg, we're doing this. You want to come out? Come out. Otherwise, but we got to get a table."
Yeah, I know, but it's one more layer for the consumer to wade through, which bugs me. It's like, oh, hey, stop down. Oh, wait, you can't just stop.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
So
you got to change your whole approach to how you advertise it and stuff.
And hopefully, I will
getting better.
Yeah.
Hopefully, I'll see you at Screamfest, and I'll come out to see you to gigs, my friend. But let's go play your surprise song. So
absolutely,
yeah.
This is going to be a song by Soul Rash. It's called "Welcome Home,"
and I love that name too. It's like a rash on your soul.
Yeah.
Yep. Because I tell you, I've had a rash on my soul recently because I'm not able. What's in my soul is music. I'm not able to go out there and play it. So there is a true rash on my soul.
And it's itching
this is Soul Rash.
It's just like hell.
And it's Soul Rash, whatever, and Soul Rash song name.
Yep. Well, the name of the band is Soul Rash, and the name of the song is Welcome Home. And this one's the one that's going to be featured on a Netflix series called The Dead Awake.
Not The Dad Awakes, as I said. Which
Not
might
the
be
dad,
scared.
but the
and
dad.
I am taking right now, disclaimer, I'm not taking any responsibilities for nightmares about scary dolls. Rob, Craig, thanks a lot,
Later.
Billy, and we'll see you later.
Well, thank you for having me.
Let's hear this thing.
Across the ground, slowly moves the trees without a sound. With shingles torn, the house begins to moan. Within this dream